In this final part of the simple React Native with Django tutorial, we are going to add some additional functionalities such as adding new event. We are going to also make this refresh controller to work. We are going to also handle the screen for QR code scanning. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so this is where we left off the last time, and I want to begin this video by styling the card. So first of all, I want it to be white, and then I want to have in the same row the text and the QR code. The text should be on the left and the QR code should be on the right. So let's get to it straight away. In Visual Studio Code, we need to find the event item in Components Events, and then we need to go to the styles for our card. And we will begin by setting the background color to white. Let's save this. And now as you can see, our card is white. So as the next step, we are going to place the items in a single row. So we will need to change the flex direction. By default, it is in React Native column, but we need to set it as row. So I'm going to put in flex direction, row. Okay, so now we have items in a single row. However, now we have a problem that our text, the name and the description is also placed in a single row. So we can fix this by adding a parent element, a parent wrapper, which is going to be our view. So let's do it straight away. I need to import view from React Native, and I'm going to use it over here. All right, and there we have it. As the next step, let's center the items vertically. So in order to do this, we need to set align items, and then let's place in center. Let's save this, and here we are. So finally, let's also take care of the horizontal display of our items, and I'm just going to set justify content as space around. Okay, let's save this, and it's looking quite nice. So as the next step, I'm going to try to press on this particular card, and we have can't find variable title. Okay, so we made some adjustments, I think, in the last video, and we didn't fix them in all the necessary places. So let's do it right now. Here in the event item, we are now taking the name as the prop, but here we are passing the title. So let's change it to name, and then we need to go to the event detail screen. Screens, event detail screen, all right. And here we need to take in the name, and we can actually set as the header title whatever the event name is. And yeah, we can also maybe adjust the fonts here to 14. And yeah, let's see if this will work. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to press on the card one more time, and we still have can't find variable title. So we have name. Oh, okay, here we are. I forgot to change it over here. So now everything should be working, and in fact it is working. Okay, so we are now taken to the detail page of the event, and we can go back by pressing the back arrow, the header back button. Okay, so this is also taken care of. This is working. As the next step, let's take care of the refresh controller, because right now the refresh controller only displays refreshing. So what we are going to do is to actually do some modifications in the home screen, but right now what I want to show you is to simply access the event list and then take a look at this refresh controller. Over here we have this on refresh where we are console logging refreshing. So what we are going to do is to set a function in the home screen and pass it as a prop to the event list, and we will use it with on refresh. But in the home screen we will additionally set a state. We will have a refresh and set refresh state. So we will have a value and a update function for the state. And initially we are going to set the refresh to false. And then we will also have a function for updating the state. So handle refresh is going to be the name of it, and we are going to pass it as a property in just a second. Here we are going to now display console log refreshing like this. Okay. And then below we are simply going to set the refresh with the use of brief state, and we are going to set it as the opposite. So if we have false, then we will have true. If we have true, then we will have false. And now this handle refresh is going to be passed as a property to the event list. We are going to set a property on refresh, and here we are going to pass this function. Okay. And one more important thing, we need to add now refresh to the dependency array. So once refresh changes, we are going to fetch the data. Okay, and now we can focus on this event list. So let's go to the event list, and here we are now taking, let me just save the home screen very quickly. And now here we are expecting also on refresh property. And as mentioned before, we can use it over here. Okay, so this should work. Well, let's find out. So if I scroll down, we see refreshing. And as the next step, I'm going to go to the Django administration, and I'm going to add an event manually. Test X, let's say, something like this. Test, today, save. Okay, and now if I refresh the home screen, it should appear as a new event, this test XX. So let's find out if it actually works. And there it is. Okay, so it appears on the bottom, but I'm not going to focus on reversing the order of these elements in this particular video. So as the next step, let's take a look at the QR code screen that we have over here. Before we make any adjustments, let's go to the Expo documentation. Let's find barcode scanner, and let's install npx expo install barcode scanner. So I'm going to quit the development server from running, and I'm going to run this command. Now I'm going to head over to the usage, and here we have a simple example that we can simply copy into our code. So I'm going to copy this part first, and I'm going to place it over here so we can remove this part of imports. Then what I'm going to do is to focus on this particular part. And there we have it. So we also need to put in styles screen, but here I'm going to remove the padding and I'm going to add flex 1. Okay, so what we have over here is to check if we have the permissions to access the camera, and if we don't have the permissions, we have two cases. We are still requesting for the camera permissions if the has permission that we hold over here is null, or if it's false, we simply are displaying no access to the camera. If we have the permission, we are displaying the barcode scanner where we can simply scan our QR codes in this case. What we are going to focus on is this particular function. So here we are getting the type and the data. So the type is the type of the QR code, the type of the barcode, and in our case, the data is going to be the event name. So what we should do over here is to check if we have the data. So if data, and then we can simply use the navigation to access the detail page. However, we are not going to do this in this particular video, in this tutorial, because First of all, we are using the simulator, and the simulator doesn't have the access to the camera. And if we would like to use the Expo Go application, we would probably need to put our backend live on the server. So here I'm just going to place some information that we can use the navigation in order to navigate to the event detail page. Okay. So now let's take a look at how this will look like in the QR code screen in our simulator. So I'm going to use the tab navigation to access our QR code screen, and we see a black screen. So normally we would see a camera over here and we would be able to take the picture. All right, so yeah, we can now move to the next part, and the next part will be all about adding new events. So in the screens, I'm going to add a new one, new event screen. And I'm going to make it, of course, a functional component. So we will have new event screen. Then I'm going to import view from React Native. Okay. And as the next step, I'm going to focus on the state that I need. So I need the name of the event, the description, the date when the event takes place. And we would also want to see some alert if we are successful in terms of adding new event. Okay, so I'm going to create a const name and then set name. And we will try to auto import use state. There we have it. And the initial value is going to be an empty string. Then we will have another const for the description, and then set description. And then we will have another use state with the initial value set to an empty string. Then we will take care of the date. So we will have a date and set date. And this time the initial state is going to be a little bit different. We will have a new date object over here, like this. All right, now let's put in the alert and set alert. And we will have a use state set to an object where we will have is visible set to false initially. And then the message is going to be set to an empty string. Okay, so this is the state necessary for our new event. So as the next step, what we want to do is to add some text inputs so that it can interact with the state, and we can have a way of inputting the name, the description, and the date from our view. So I'm going to import text input. Let's do it first for the name. So we will have a value, and the value is going to be set to name. Then we will need a on change text, and this is going to be our set name. As the next step, let's also add a placeholder. I'm just going to put in a name, and we will also add some styling. So here we will need to import style sheet. Okay, and then let's go to the bottom, and here we will create const styles is equal to style sheet create, and let's add two styles for the screen. We will have the padding set to 20, and then we will take care of the input, and here we will have the height set to 40. Then we will add the border width to 1, set to 1. The border radius will be set to 5. Then we will have the padding set to 10. And we also want the background color to be white. And finally, let's also add some margin bottom set to 10. All right, so here now we can first of all add a style equal to styles screen, and here styles input. All right, so if we now take a look at our home screen, we can import a button, and we can place this button above the event list. So let's put the button with the on press, which is going to be set to navigation navigate, but we don't have navigation over here. So I'm going to create this variable navigation is equal to use navigation, which needs to be imported, and we have successfully made an auto import of the use navigation. So now we can simply put in navigation, navigate, and then we will need the name of the screen, but this screen hasn't been registered yet in the stack. So let's go to the stack. Let's copy the stack screen with the event name. We are at the home stack. I'm going to place the copy of it below, and then I'm going to change the name as to new event, and then here we will have the new event screen. Okay, let's save this, and then in the home screen now we can refer to this name, new event. All right, and then let's set the title to add new event. This, and yeah, let's see if this works. So we have this button, add new event, and we are taken to the new event page where we can type the name of the new event. However, we can't, of course, create a new event and store it in our database. So in order to do this, we still need to take care of a few steps. First of all, let's add some additional inputs. We still need an input for the description and for the date. So in order to do this, let's go back to the new event screen. I'm going to copy text input, and I'm going to paste it 2 times. So let's see if we can adjust the text inputs in the way we need it. So here we will have a description. Here we will have in the unchanged text set description, there it is. The placeholder is going to be description. And since this is a description, I'm going to also add multi-line set to true. And then the style is going to be also styles input. So let's save this. And as you can see, right now we have the description. But if we press enter, we have the possibility to add many lines. So this is great. And then we need to still take care of the text input with the date. So here we will have the date, and then unchanged text is going to be set date. And let's not forget about the placeholder. So here we will have event date. Let's save this, and the placeholders are at least working. However, with the event date, we would like to see the date today. So over here we have the state of a new date, and in order to see its value, we can add to local string, and now we will have this date formatted, and we can actually see it and adjust it. So now, as the next step, we can add a button to actually send the information to our backend. So again, we need to import a button from React Native and add it below the form, button, and here we will have an onPress event. For now, I'm going to leave it empty, and then the title is going to be simply add. Okay, and now we can focus on the handler for this event. So I'm just going to call it maybe handle add event, handle add event. All right. And here, this is going to be an async function because we will use the fetch method in order to send the information to the backend. And the fetch method returns a promise, so it will be simply handled with this async await syntax. So we can now refer to this handle add event function, and we can work on the handle event. So first of all, what I'm going to do is to display the date, console log date. Okay, I'm going to save this. And now if I press add, we see the date. So we need to format this to a date because in our Django, we want to store only the date of the event. We have a date field, not a date time field. And I'm just interested in this particular part where we see the date. So I'm going to format this very quickly by creating a new variable, which I'm going to call simply D. And I can format the date to a string, and then I can call slice on it. And I just want to pick up the date, and I'm just going to console log D. Let's save this. And there we have the date. Okay, so as the next step, I'm going to prepare the data. So I'm going to create a const data, and here I'm going to pass in the name, and then we will have the description, and we also are going to have the date as D. All right, so this is what we are going to send. So now we can create a new variable response, and this is going to be await, and then fetch. We need to pass in the URL, so I'm going to get it from the home screen. It's going to be the same endpoint. So let's bring it in over here. And we need to do some additional adjustments. So first of all, we need to specify the method, and it's going to be post. All right. Then we will have the headers. And here we will need to specify the content type, and let's set it to application JSON. All right. And then as the next step, we need to specify the body. So what we are sending, and we want to send the data as JSON stringify, and we want to pass in the data. So we want to create a JSON string out of our data and send it. Okay, what we need to do next is to simply maybe create another variable res, and this is going to be a result. So I can write await and then response.json. Okay, and I can simply now console log the result. Let's see if this will work. I'm going to save this. I'm going to put in xxx. I'm going to add, and there it is. So this object should now appear in our database, and here we have it. So we can't go back to the home screen yet. Let's do this functionality in just a few seconds, but let's right now focus on adding the alert. So what I'm going to do is to set an alert over here, and I'm going to set is visible to true, and then we will have the message to event added. Okay, message event added like this. Okay, so here of course we could handle some exceptions, but I'm just going to keep this fairly simple. And now the last thing to do over here in this particular place, in this particular screen, is to display this alert. So we will have alert is visible. And if this is the case, we want to simply use the text component in order to display the alert message like this. All right, so I'm going to save this. I'm going to add xxxxx, add, and let's see if this has been added. And in fact, it has been added. Okay, so we see it over here. I made a mistake actually. It's not the last thing to do in this particular place, because we want to have a header back button to simply go back to our home screen. So I'm going to go to the event details screen, and I'm going to copy this piece of code with the use layout effect, and then I'm going to go to the new event, and I'm going to place this code somewhere over here. And now the header title is going to be add new event. We need to import header back button, so I'm going to grab it from here as well. And we also need use layout effect from React. Use layout effect. All right, let's save this. I'm going to reload. I don't know what happened over here. Can't find variable text. Okay, so we also need text. Okay. I'm going to reload it once again. All right, so let's try this once again. We have an add new event. Okay, we now don't see navigation. So let's create a const navigation, and this is going to be set to use navigation. Let's save this, add new event. Okay, now everything should be working. Test, add. We have this alert event added, and we can go back. All right, so this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you want more Django and React Native content, if you want me to build a more advanced React Native content with Django on the backend, let me know in the comments. And yeah, hope to see you again soon. Take care and bye-bye.